What is this worm seen in the second episode of Rings of Power? So yeah, the series isn't as good as they have promoted it to be, but that's what you get from forcing something not really desired by the public. But then again, there is one or two things that were interesting in the series. So I've convinced myself that this is just a billion-dollar fanfiction, and that made it more tolerable in a way. But one thing that got me excited was the giant kaiju-sized sea monster called the Worm. So we will dissect a little bit into it and discuss what it is and whether it is canon or just another piece of fanfiction. So let's get to it. Let's start with the scene of the sea monster. So in the second episode, when Galadriel was swimming back to Middle-earth from Valinor, which was completely ridiculous since the Sundering Sea is thousands of miles across, like the length of the Atlantic Ocean in the least. Anyway, she was rescued by a group of survivors who themselves were stranded in the ocean after their ship was attacked by a sea beast. They helped her up and told her about the sea worm. Then out of nowhere, the creature comes back to finish killing the remaining survivors. So let's look at its appearance. The design of the monster resembles an aquatic reptile from the Mesozoic era. It has a body similar to a giant mosasaurus, with two large fins in the front and a large tail with biconcave type of flipper fins. Its head was monstrous looking. It had a horn on the nose that gives off a Pacific Rim kaiju kind of vibe, as it does look similar to Knifehead from that franchise. Its back is lined with several sail fins that are segmented from each other. The eyes are situated on the top, which means that it has predatory vision, which allows it to stalk and attack prey that swim close to the surface of the ocean. It also has several giant tusk-like teeth that protrude out of the mouth, so it was pretty good looking. Let's estimate the size. This creature was absolutely gigantic, and it is maybe one of the biggest creatures in that universe of Middle-earth, aside from the weirworms, the dragons and the stone giants. The horn itself seems to be around 8 to 10 feet long, which means its head is going to measure around twice that size, so we have an estimate of a head size that is 16 to 20 feet long. Then if we infer that its body design is proportionate to or similar to a mosasaurus or other large sea reptiles of the past, and we have a head-to-body ratio of 1:5. Therefore, the creature would be 80 to 100 feet long. Not surprising, as this estimate seems to conform with how it looks in the show. So let's take a look at its habitat. The creature is an ocean-dwelling monster and hunts in the open seas, most notably in the Sundering Seas, as well as other parts of the vast oceans of Middle-earth, as we can see from the maps in the series. These waters lay west of Middle-earth, and elves must cross them in order to reach the Undying Lands. As seen in the episode, the sea worm had quite a lot of javelins and spears stuck on its body, which would tell us that it frequently has contact or conflicts with humans and other sea-going races, maybe even elves, and has formed quite an antagonistic attitude towards them. So what if it is evil or just misunderstood? We can't clearly state whether this creature is under the influence of Sauron, since there is no literature behind it, but we can clearly guess that it is a gigantic creature wandering the oceans of Middle-earth and might just be an apex predator that seeks out prey. But at the same time, in the attack scene, we saw a lot of spears and javelins stuck to its body, probably shot or thrown at it by fishermen hunting for big game, kind of like Moby Dick. So maybe it has developed a dislike or extreme enmity and hatred towards people and ships because of it, but only the future episodes will tell. So are there such things in the books written by Tolkien? Well, sea serpents are essentially the aquatic equivalent of dragons in most fantasy settings, including Middle-earth. They may easily capsize ships due to their size and strength. The Watcher in the Water from the Fellowship of the Ring is the only creature like it, an aquatic creature to be discussed by Tolkien, as no particular sea serpents have ever been addressed. But there are worms that are canon to the franchise. The Hobbits have a story about gigantic worms that are said to dwell in the last desert. And also in the movie Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, there were a couple of wereworms that were seen tunneling and making way for orcs. So even though the sea worm was never a part of Tolkien's Middle-earth, its appearance does give a little bit of salt to a bland dish that is the Rings of Power. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Do hit the like button for support and subscribe, but most of all, smash that bell icon for regular updates on new videos right here on this channel. Till the next one, take care fam.